President Trump taking a very hard line with the World Trade Organization. Roll tape.
WTO's treated the United States very badly, and I hope they change their ways. They have been treating us very badly for many, many years, and that's why we were at a big disadvantage with the WTO. And we're not planning anything now, but if they don't treat us properly, we will be doing something.
Joining us now, economist Peter Morici. All right, Peter, a lot of speculation about President Trump taking America out of the WTO. I think as more and more people learn about the ineffectiveness of the organization, they may jump on that bandwagon. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think it's false to generalize about the WTO. If we have a dispute with France or with Germany on a trade issue, we can get a fair adjudication in the WTO. If we have a dispute with China, not, because the WTO was set up to adjudicate problems between market economies. China's in there, but it's not a market economy. And so it's been driving Mack trucks through loopholes in the WTO, and that's the basic problem. We don't need to get out of the WTO. We need to throw China out. Then the thing will work for us.
Well, if it's worked this well for them, it's unlikely they'll get out. I always find it interesting when people say, hey, it's a great organization. We've won like 85% of the cases, and China's only won 64%. I'm wondering why they won even 6%. Are you kidding me? They shouldn't win any cases. It always seems like there's a zillion complaints against them by all the countries in the world. And that's why I worry about this, because unfortunately, we're not concerned about France's economy or these other economies. It's China's economy that's coming on like a juggernaut.
Absolutely, and the reason it's coming on is because it cheats on the rules. The trick here is to get the other allies on side with us, as opposed to having a trade war with them as well, to basically clobber the Chinese on trade, and to cut a deal with the Chinese where we basically manage trade with China. And that is, we'll have balanced trade with China. That's the best we'll do for you. And that you can't be involved in intellectual privacy. There was a great article in yesterday's Journal where they're all over Taiwanese chip makers, basically hiring their engineers, paying them to photograph plans, stealing their information and so forth. China is run by crooks and thieves. It's the modern-day mafia elevated to the level of a sovereign state, and it's a terrible cancer in the system.
Yeah, well, maybe we've elected an Elliot Ness to finally bring him to justice. We'll see.
Exactly.
All right. Next one for you, Peter. Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel's coalition government now, we know it's going to remain in power, but she had to agree to tighten borders and ease the flow of migrants into Germany. So some are asking, after 1.6 million, is it too little too late?
Well, already 2% of the German population are these recent migrants, as recent as 2015. And some German villages are unrecognizable. These folks don't speak German. They can't get jobs. They're on 87% of the Syrian asylum seekers, or 84%, is on public dole. Yet, how do they reward the German people? They commit 2% of the population, commits 14% of the crimes. Now, what they're going to do, what Merkel has agreed to do to keep the coalition together, is as people come in, to basically put them in camps at the border until they can process them. Because, a lot of these asylum seekers really aren't worthy of asylum. But, the European Union is like America. They slip into the population and they never go back. Then they become disaffected and cause problems. The problem that Germany has right now is it doesn't need to just stop the flow. It has to start repatriating the flow.
There's a big difference between an authentic asylum seeker and folks just looking for economic change.
A handout.
Yeah. Well, open borders and welfare. I mean, that's why they go through so many countries to get to Germany.
We just elected somebody who wants to open our border. Well, she won the primary in New York. You were talking about Alexandria Cortez. I mean, basically the modern-day Saul Alinsky. It's crazy what's going on up there.
The irony, of course, is being a young Puerto Rican girl, what's happened to Puerto Rico as a result of really terrible migration policies is another story, but it's certainly something she should use as a cautionary tale. But I want to talk about your opinion piece, Peter, because you wrote one for Fox News entitled Trump's Birthday Gift to America, a Booming Economy. Make your case.
Well, for the first time since 2005, the U.S. economy is likely to hit 3% growth. Talk about MAGA. That's the first time I've actually used that phrase on air. Finally, you've got it out of me. Make America great again. I mean, George Bush couldn't do it. Barack Obama couldn't do it. Barack Obama had a goal, and that was to make America like France. 1% growth, 12% unemployment, lots of despair, unsafe Paris, the whole works. Well, guess what? You know, America is back again. People are investing with new confidence because, let's face it, if you don't make businesses spend all their time filling out forms to send to Washington, they might do something productive with that manpower and money and invest. And that's exactly what they're doing. Investment is up. And, you know, this isn't just a boomlet. Because it's investment as opposed to consumption, that means productivity is going to improve.
Peter Morici, thanks a lot. Always appreciate talking to you.
Take care.
All right.